What could possibly turn an ordinary man into a notorious killer? Our journey takes us back to the life of a man named John Wayne Gacy, born in the heart of Chicago in the early 40s, an ordinary boy with an ordinary name in an ordinary city. But as we will soon discover, Gacy's life was anything but ordinary. Let's delve into his early years. Gacy was the second of 3 children, born into a working-class family. His father, a World War I veteran, was known for his stern and often violent demeanor. His mother, on the other hand, was a homemaker, always there to pick up the pieces after her husband's tirades. Young John was caught in the middle, a sensitive child trying to navigate a turbulent home. In school, Gacy was viewed as an average student. He didn't excel in academics, nor was he lagging behind. But beneath this mask of mediocrity, early signs of behavioral issues began to surface. He was known to have a volatile temper, prone to outbursts of rage. Teachers noted his disturbing tendency to lie and manipulate. Classmates recalled instances of cruelty towards animals, an early warning sign often linked to future violent behavior. As Gacy grew older, his antisocial tendencies intensified. He struggled to fit in, to conform to societal norms. He was viewed as an outsider, a loner. But despite these struggles, there was nothing to suggest the horrific path he would later embark on. As a young adult, Gacy seemed to settle into a life of normalcy. He married, started a family, and established a successful construction business. He even engaged in local politics and was active in community service. On the surface, Gacy was the embodiment of the American dream. But beneath this facade of respectability, a monster was beginning to take shape. What was it that turned this seemingly ordinary man into one of the most feared and reviled figures in American history? What dark forces were at play that transformed John Wayne Gacy into a cold-blooded killer? This seemingly average man would soon become one of America's most infamous monsters. Gacy's descent into criminality was slow but steady. In the beginning, his activities were relatively minor, largely confined to fraud and theft. He had a knack for talking his way out of trouble, a trait that would serve him well in the darker days to come. But as the years passed, Gacy's crimes began to escalate. The first significant shift came with an assault charge. A teenage boy accused Gacy of sexual misconduct, but the case was dismissed due to lack of evidence. This incident, however, marked a turning point. The man who was once a well-respected member of his community was now showing signs of a hidden and dangerous alter ego. In the early 70s, the darkness within John Wayne Gacy fully surfaced with his first known murder. A young man named Timothy McCoy was found dead, and Gacy was the prime suspect. However, he managed to convince the authorities that the killing was in self-defense, and he was released without charges. This event emboldened Gacy. He had tasted the thrill of violence and gotten away with it. He began to lead a double life. A successful businessman and community leader by day, a ruthless predator by night. Gradually, the line between these two personas started to blur. Gacy began to lure young men and boys into his home under the pretense of offering them work. There, he would subject them to unimaginable horrors before ultimately ending their lives. The shocking discovery of Gacy's double life sent waves of terror and disbelief throughout the nation. No one could fathom that the man they knew, the man who had hosted neighborhood parties and dressed as a clown for children's events, could be capable of such atrocities. But the depths of Gacy's depravity were yet to be fully uncovered. The grim reality of his actions was just beginning to come to light, and the ensuing investigation would reveal a horror story that would haunt the nation for decades to come. Behind the walls of a suburban home lay a chilling secret. This was the residence of John Wayne Gacy, an ordinary-looking house on Somerdale Avenue, nestled in the heart of Norwood Park Township, Chicago. It was here, in this unassuming structure, that the unimaginable occurred. The house, with its neat exterior and carefully manicured lawn, was deceptive. It bore no outward signs of the sinister secrets it held within. But as investigators would soon discover, this was not a home but a house of horrors, a macabre playground for one of America's most notorious serial killers. Beneath the surface of Gacy's suburban dwelling in the dank, dark crawl space, lay the horrifying evidence of his monstrous deeds. The gruesome discoveries began in late December of 1978. The first body, a young male, was found buried under the house. As the excavation continued, the grim tally rose. One body became 2, then 3, then 10. Each new day brought with it the unearthing of further victims of Gacy's heinous crimes. The realization of the extent of his atrocities sent shockwaves through the nation. The friendly neighborhood clown, a man who had been entrusted with entertaining children, was revealed to be a predator of the worst kind. Each body found under the house painted a chilling portrait of a man who had used his home as a hunting ground, a place where he could carry out his twisted fantasies with impunity. The investigators worked tirelessly, their faces etched with the grim determination to bring justice for the victims. As the number of bodies found in the house reached a staggering 29, the true scale of Gacy's crimes became horrifyingly clear. This was not just a house, it was a tomb, a grave for those unfortunate enough to cross paths with Gacy. Each room held a story, each corner a secret, all whispering the same horrifying truth. The killer clown had been unmasked, revealing a horrifying truth. Justice often comes too late, but it does come. As we dive into the heart-wrenching trial of John Wayne Gacy, this sentiment rings particularly true. The trial commenced on February 6, 1979, a date etched into the annals of crime history. The prosecution presented a staggering amount of evidence, from Gacy's own chilling confessions to the physical testimony of the victim's remains. The defense, in a desperate bid, argued that Gacy was insane, a pawn in his own macabre game, yet the jury was not swayed. The evidence was irrefutable. Gacy was found guilty of 33 counts of murder, one of the largest serial murder convictions in American history. The verdict was a unanimous decision, a resounding cry for justice for the young lives cruelly snuffed out. The aftermath of the trial was a bittersweet symphony. For the victims' families, the verdict offered a semblance of closure, a chance to begin the long, arduous journey towards healing. Yet, the pain was far from over. The echoes of their loved ones' laughter, the dreams that would never be realized, the empty chairs at family dinners, these were constant reminders of a loss too profound for words. The impact stretched far beyond the families. The trial shook the nation, forcing a hard look at the monsters that lurk in plain sight. It sparked conversations about mental health, about the safety of our children, about the very fabric of our society. And Gacy? He spent 14 years on death row, a grim reminder of the horrors he had inflicted. On May 10, 1994, Gacy was executed by lethal injection, his final breath a cold comfort to those who still grieved. Yet, for all the justice served, for all the conversations sparked, one thing remained painfully clear. Gacy's reign of terror had ended, but the scars would never fade. What can we learn from the darkness that was John Wayne Gacy? As we reflect on the chilling tale of John Wayne Gacy, we are confronted with an unsettling reality. Monsters don't always lurk in the shadows. Sometimes they hide in plain sight. Gacy was a man of contrasts, a businessman and a community volunteer on one hand, and a merciless predator on the other. His story is not just a tale of his crimes, it's a stark reminder of the duality of human nature. This case offers us important lessons on vigilance and early intervention. The signs were there, but they were overlooked, dismissed, or ignored. We need to understand that real-life monsters don't come with warning labels. They blend into society, often wearing the mask of normalcy. It's crucial for us to be vigilant, to pay attention to the subtle signs and report suspicious activities, no matter how insignificant they may seem. Gacy's story also highlights the importance of early intervention. His early life was marked by abuse and neglect, factors that many believe played a role in shaping his future. While this does not excuse his horrific crimes, it emphasizes the need for early identification and intervention in cases of child abuse and neglect. But perhaps the most significant lesson from the Gacy case is the enduring legacy of his victims. 33 young lives were tragically cut short, leaving behind a gaping void and a plea for justice. Their stories remind us of the importance of relentless pursuit of justice, even when the odds seem insurmountable. As we remember each victim and their untold stories, we are reminded of our collective responsibility to protect the vulnerable, to seek justice for the wronged, and to ensure that no victim's cry for help goes unheard. Remembering the past is painful, but necessary, lest we forget the lessons it teaches us. Let the story of John Wayne Gacy be a constant reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface, and the light of justice that can prevail against it.